In the spotlight tonight is Nigel White from Essex, a payments consultant. His specialist subject is British parliamentary elections since 1900. Martin White from West Sussex, an information scientist taking the life and works of Maurice Durufle as his. Tony Barnes from Surrey, a technical director, and his subject is the Manhattan Project. And Andrew Whitworth from West Yorkshire, a university lecturer, and his The Life and Films of Stanley Kubrick. Hello and welcome to Mastermind with me, John Humphreys. This is the first round, and you probably know the procedure by now. There are two sets of questions, the first on whatever specialist subject's been chosen, and the second based on general knowledge. 2 minutes for each round. The winner tonight goes through to the quarter-finals, and the final in the autumn may, or may not, include someone here tonight. So, let's have our first contender. And your name is?
Nigel White.
Your occupation?
A payments consultant.
And your specialist subject?
British parliamentary elections since 1900.
British parliamentary elections since 1900. 2 minutes starting now. The general election of 1900 was known by what nickname?
Khaki election.
Correct. Which indispensable item of equipment for street corner orators did John Major use during the 92 general election campaign?
Soapbox.
Correct. Which constituency repeated its success of 97 by being the first to declare its results in the 2001 general election?
Sunderland South.
Correct. In which year was the last general election held where the largest party gained over 50% of the total votes cast?
1935.
Correct. What was the slogan on the Conservative poster designed by Saatchi and Saatchi showing a dole queue widely used in the 1979 election campaign?
Britain isn't working.
No, Labour isn't working. Which party took part in a general election for the first time in 1992, fielding 310 candidates, all of whom lost their deposits?
Natural Law Party.
Correct. Which constituency did Margaret Thatcher contest in both the 1950 and 51 general elections, on both occasions being beaten by the Labour candidate Norman Dodds?
Dartford.
Correct. In which year was the last general election held on a day other than a Thursday?
1931.
Correct. In the 1900 general election, two candidates put up by the Labour Representation Committee won seats. James Keir Hardie won Merthyr Tydfil, but which seat was won by the other successful candidate, Richard Bell?
Derby.
Correct. Which was the only Scottish constituency won by the Conservatives at the 2001 general election?
Dumfries and Galloway and Upper Nithsdale.
Galloway and Upper Nithsdale was correct, but your first answer was wrong. At which election did the Liberal Party sink to its lowest level in terms of the popular vote, winning 6 seats but gaining only 2.6% of the total votes cast?
1951.
Correct. Who won West Fife for the Communist Party at the 1935 general election, holding the seat until 1950?
Willie Gallagher.
Correct. What was the two-word election slogan used by Stanley Baldwin and the Conservatives during the 1929 campaign?
Pass.
Roy Jenkins won Glasgow Hillhead, started start finish, at a by-election in 1982. But who took the seat off him at the 1987 general election?
George Galloway.
Indeed it was. That was correct. So, you passed on one question. The two-word election slogan used by Stanley Baldwin and the Conservatives during the 1929 campaign was, and you'll know it when I tell you, safety first. You scored, Nigel White, 11 points. And our second contender, please. And your name is?
Martin White.
Occupation?
Information scientist.
And your specialist subject?
Life and works of Maurice Durufle.
The life and works of Maurice Durufle in 2 minutes, starting now. For which celebrated organist-composer did Durufle deputise at Sainte-Clotilde shortly after arriving in Paris in 1919?
Charles Tournemire.
Correct. Which title did the Vatican confer on Durufle in 1961?
The Order of St. Michael.
No, the Order of St. Gregory. Based on the name of which celebrated organist who died in action in 1940 did Durufle write a prelude and fugue?
Jean Alain.
Correct. Which much-set liturgical sequence did Durufle omit from his requiem after the practice adopted by Fauré?
Pass.
What was the maiden name of the organist whom Durufle married in 1953?
Marie-Madeleine Chevalier.
Correct. On which plain chant did Durufle compose a prelude, adagio and varied chorale dedicated with affectionate homage to Louis Vierne?
Veni Creator Spiritus.
Correct. What profession was followed by Durufle's father?
An architect.
Correct. In which year did Durufle become Professor of Harmony at the Paris Conservatoire?
1943.
Correct. What is the title of Durufle's first published work, which he dedicated to Tournemire?
Scherzo.
Correct. Durufle published transcriptions of recorded improvisations by two French organist composers. One was Tournemire. Who was the other?
César Franck.
No, Louis Vierne. What question did Durufle pose in the title of a short article in the periodical L'Orgue in 1973?
Pass.
Which famous French firm published the majority of Durufle's compositions?
Durand.
Correct. Which form commonly used by French organist composer did Durufle use for the final movement of the Suite Opus 5?
Toccata.
Correct. Which of the Trois Danses Opus 6 did Durufle arrange for piano and publish separately in the 1960s?
Tambourin.
Correct. What is the vocal register of the only solo part employed in the Mass cum Jubilo?
Baritone.
Correct. Which distinguished organist and educationalist, who became director of conservatoire in Le Mans, Nice and Lyon, studied harmony in Paris with Durufle?
Jean Guillou.
No, Pierre Cochereau. In which year did Durufle receive serious injuries in a car crash?
1975.
And that was correct. You passed on two questions. The question Durufle posed in the title of a short article in the periodical L'Orgue was Où allons-nous? Where are we going? And the liturgical sequence that Durufle omitted from his requiem was Dies Irae. You scored, Martin White, 12 points. And our third contender, please. And your name is?
Tony Barnes.
Occupation?
Technical Director.
And your chosen subject?
The Manhattan Project.
The Manhattan Project in 2 minutes, starting now. The code name for the project to develop the atomic bomb was known by the initials MED. What did these initials stand for?
Manhattan Engineering District.
Correct. On his arrival in the United States, at which university in Manhattan did Enrico Fermi conduct research on chain reactions before moving to Chicago?
Princeton.
Columbia University. At what local time was the bomb exploded in the Trinity test?
6 a.m.
5:30 a.m. What was the code name of the British committee whose report of July 1941 helped crystallize the American atom bomb effort?
The Maud Committee.
Correct. What box number was used by residents as the enigmatic address for mail into and out of the Los Alamos site?
Pass.
What name derived from University of California did E.O. Lawrence give to the modified cyclotron he designed for the electromagnetic separation U-235 from U-238?
Calutron.
Correct. What name was given to the test of the first atomic bomb, which took place on the 16th of July, 1945?
Trinity.
Correct. Best known as the designer of a mass spectrometer, which physicist was put in charge of the Trinity test?
Pass.
Which Nobel laureate, best known for the gamma-ray scattering effect named after him, was, with E.O. Lawrence, instrumental in initiating the Manhattan Project?
Szilard.
No, Arthur Holly Compton. What was the name of University of Chicago Sports Stadium where, in a squash court under the West Stand, the world's first controlled, self-sustaining chain reaction took place on December the 2nd, 1942?
The Football Stadium.
It was Stagg Field. Which Boston-based construction and engineering corporation drew up the original plans for the Los Alamos Laboratory and designed and constructed the entire electromagnetic plant at Oak Ridge?
Kellex.
No, it's Stone and Webster. What was the specific code name for the research and design work for the development of the first atomic bomb carried out at the Los Alamos Laboratory?
Project Alberta.
Project Y. Who in April, I'll finish the question, 1943, first proposed an implosion method as an alternative to the gun method to produce a supercritical mass of plutonium-239?
Von Neumann.
It was Seth Neddermeyer. You passed on two questions. Best known as the designer of a mass spectrometer, it was Kenneth T. Bainbridge. He was the physicist involved. And the box number used by residents as the enigmatic address for mail into and out of the Los Alamos site was 1663. Please don't ask me why. Tony Barnes, you scored 4 points. And our fourth contender, please. And your name is?
Andrew Whitworth.
And your occupation?
University lecturer.
And your chosen subject?
The life and films of Stanley Kubrick.
The life and films of Stanley Kubrick in 2 minutes, starting now. What was the name of the hospital in Manhattan where Stanley Kubrick was born on the 26th of July, 1928?
Lying in hospital.
Correct. Which instrument did Kubrick play in the swing band at the William Howard Taft High School where he enrolled in 1942?
The drums.
Correct. What was the name of the boxer about whom Kubrick created a photo essay entitled Prize Fighter and was the subject of his first film, Day of the Fight?
Walter Cartier.
Correct. In the title sequence of Paths of Glory, the credits are accompanied by an arrangement by composer Gerald Fried of which song?
La Marseillaise.
Correct. Later to become famous for playing an overweight television detective, which Oldham-born actor's first credited film role was as gang member Dim in A Clockwork Orange?
Warren Clark.
Correct. Which British writer did Kubrick invite to have a meal with him after reading a footnote to his 73 history of sci-fi billion-year spree that Kubrick was the great sci-fi writer of the age?
Brian Aldiss.
Correct. Related to the maker of the notorious Nazi film Due Süß and later to become the third Mrs. Kubrick, which actress played the only German seen in Paths of Glory?
Christiana Harlan.
Correct. Kubrick's last film, Eyes Wide Shut, was based on the book Tronovel by which Viennese-born author?
Arthur Schnitzler.
Correct. In Dr. Strangelove, Peter Sellers played two characters in addition to the title character. One of them was Group Captain Lionel Mandrake. Who was the other?
President Merkin Muffley.
Correct. Later to find fame in the Bond films, which actress played Nurse Mary Law in Lolita?
Lois Maxwell.
Correct. Which Polish composer's The Awakening of Jacob is played several times in The Shining, including when Jack awakens at his desk from his bad dream?
Penderecki.
Correct. Played by Haley Joel Osment in the Spielberg film, who was Kubrick's choice for the part of the intelligent android Dave Swinton in the film AI?
Pass.
Which actor, better known for his role as Dr. Alex Ferrenby in Heartbeat and as Dan Archer in The Archers, appeared as Sir Charles Reginald Lyndon in Barry Lyndon?
Frank Middlemas.
Correct. Stanley Kubrick died of natural causes on the 7th of March 1999 in which Hertfordshire town?
St Albans.
It was Harpenden, but not very far away. You passed on only one question. The man who played Dave Swinton was Joseph Marcello. Andrew Whitworth, at the end of that round, your specialist round, you have 12 points. And that brings us to the end of a particularly fast and furious round on specialist subjects. So let's take a look at the scores now. In fourth place on 4 points is Tony Barnes. In third place on 11 points, Nigel White. In second place on 12 points and 2 passes is Martin White. In the lead with 12 points and 1 pass is Andrew Whitworth. So, on to round 2 now and general knowledge. If there is still a tie at the end of this round, then the number of passes will be taken into consideration, as I did just then, and the contender with the fewest passes will be declared the winner. So, on with the general knowledge round, and let me first ask Tony Barnes to come up again, if he would, please. And you got 4 points with 2 passes. And apart from knowing a bit about the Manhattan Project, you're also a ski mountaineer, which means that obviously you can't use a lift to get up to the top of the mountain. So how do you do it? How do you get up with skis on?
Well, you stick skins underneath the skis, and you use lifting bindings, and you walk up the mountain.
Sounds like terribly hard work.
It is very hard work.
So why do you do it? Because it's there?
Because it's there, exactly.
Yeah. Let's see how much you know about things in general. This is our general knowledge round. 2 minutes, starting now. Which is the most northerly of the former republics of Yugoslavia?
Slovenia.
Correct. Which metal is always present in an amalgam?
Mercury.
Correct. Which former Conservative cabinet minister was elected to succeed Lord Jenkins as Chancellor of Oxford University in March 2003?
Pass.
In cookery, what name is given to the edible parts of the entrails of poultry?
Giblets.
Correct. The drum roll, the surprise and the military are names given to symphonies by which composer?
Haydn.
Correct. Which broadsheet daily newspaper began as the Daily Universal Register in 1785, changing to its current name in 1788?
The Times.
Correct. Which actor co-directed and starred in the 1968 film The Green Berets?
John Wayne.
Correct. In which novel by Charles Dickens is Philip Pirrip, known as Pip, partly brought up by blacksmith Joe Gargery?
Great Expectations.
Correct. According to the saying, what is the sincerest form of flattery?
Pass.
Quechua, now spoken by around 9 million people in South America, was originally the ruling language of which empire?
The Incas.
Correct. Which of Napoleon's victories of 1805 is also known as the Battle of the Three Emperors?
Austerlitz.
Correct. The flour of which cereal crop may be so dark in colour that bread made from it is known as black bread?
Rye.
Correct. Ganymede, the largest satellite in the solar system, is a moon of which planet?
Jupiter.
Correct. Which landlocked country became the first from Europe to win the America's Cup when Alinghi defeated New Zealand 5-0 in March 2003?
Switzerland.
Correct. In the ballad Widdicombe Fair, whose grey mare did the riders borrow?
Pass.
In which card game at its most popular in the early 50s is one of the aims to make melds, or groups of cards of the same rank?
Canasta.
Correct. Who, when she was appointed Minister of Labour in 1929, became Britain's first woman cabinet minister?
Pass.
Which winter sport is sometimes known as the roaring game because of the sound made by the stone crossing the rink?
Curling.
Correct. You passed on 4 questions there, Tony Barnes. The Minister of Labour in 1929 was, not a household name today admittedly, Margaret Bonfield. Widdicombe Fair, it was Tom Pearce who borrowed the grey mare. And the sincerest form of flattery, you'll kick yourself with this one, is imitation. And the Conservative Cabinet Minister elected to succeed Lord Jenkins at Oxford University was Chris Patten. Tony Barnes, you have scored a total of 18 points. And now let me ask Nigel White to come and take the chair again, if he would, please, for the general knowledge round. And, Mr White, you scored 11 correct answers and 1 pass. On your parliamentary election questions, on which you are clearly an expert, why?
It's something
What
I've
was the
always been interested. I remember as a young child watching the election night programmes and wondered why on earth we end up with the people who rule as we do.
So you're sort of William Hague, really? Is that, do you see yourself as a,
I would
as a kind
I
of,
hope not to be put in the same category as William Hague.
no,
I've got more hair.
a lot more. That's certainly true. And a marathon runner, which I don't think Mr Hague is.
That's right as well, yes.
You do a lot of it.
I do a few, yes.
You enjoy it. Clearly you enjoy it. You
I
wouldn't do
enjoy
it
it,
otherwise.
yes.
And your fastest time?
2 hours, 43 minutes.
Not bad, not bad. Right, let's see whether marathon running is good for the mental processes. Apart from anything else, you've got 2 minutes now on general knowledge, starting now. Which member of the carp family gets its name from its fleshy protuberances which resemble a beard?
Pass.
Who captained England at football for the first time in their 1-0 defeat by Italy in Turin in November 2000?
Pass.
The hawksbill is the smallest species of which aquatic reptile?
Newt.
The turtle. In which novel by Charles Kingsley does Tom, a chimney sweep, meet the motherly Mrs. Do-as-you-would-be-done-by on the magical St. Brandon's Isle?
The water babies.
Correct. Which type of small dried grape derives its name from the Greek city of Corinth, where it was first grown?
Currant.
Correct. The Italian painter Pietro Annigoni is best known in Britain for his 95 portrait of which member of the royal family?
Queen.
Correct. Who was the original presenter of the children's television news programme Newsround?
John Craven.
Correct. Which South American soldier and statesman who led revolutions against Spanish colonial rule was known as the Liberator?
Bolivar.
Correct. In which town does most of the action in Gilbert and Sullivan's opera The Mikado take place?
Pass.
Philip II, who ruled Spain from 1556 to 1598, ruled which country as Philip I from 1580 to 98?
Aragon.
Portugal. Which classic rock and roll song became a hit after featuring on the soundtrack of the film Blackboard Jungle?
Pass.
Frequently seen on items of cutlery, what do the letters EPNS stand for?
Electroplated nickel silver.
Correct. Which reggae singer born Orville Burrell took his stage name from the hirsute hippie in Scooby-Doo?
Pass.
What is the international vehicle registration letter for Austria?
O.
It's A. Which chain of islands extends along the coasts of the Netherlands, Germany and Denmark?
Pass.
Which brilliant reddish-purple aniline dye is named in allusion to the bloody battle fought in Italy in 1859?
Pass.
So, You had 7 passes there. I'll rattle through them. The dye that was named in an allusion to that bloody battle was magenta. The chain of islands is the Frisians. The reggae singer, who was born Orville Burrell, was Shaggy after Scooby-Doo. The rock and roll song was the classic Rock Around the Clock. In which town does most of the action in Mikado take place? Titipu. Which member of the Cart family? The Barbell. But the captain of England for the first time was David Beckham. You had 7 passes. Nigel White, you now have a total of 17 points. And now, Martin White, if you would join us, please. And you had 12 correct answers and 2 passes. And you chose a subject that I think I can sort of fairly safely say is reasonably obscure to most people, Maurice Durufle. Why? What was it about him that fascinated you?
My first ever trip to Paris was as a schoolboy in about 1963, and I stayed in the School Bonnerie Lycée, which was next door to Saint-Étienne-du-Mont, and at that time I was a choir boy. So, of course, went into the church to see what it was all about. And the organ was playing. Whether it was Durufle, I don't know. But I associate that church very much, and as I then started to play the organ, I became interested in who the organist might have been of that church.
So both as an organist and as a composer?
Yes. Yeah.
And you're an organist of no mean skill yourself?
But it's a nice way of making a lot of noise with a little amount of effort.
Right, we have 2 minutes to test your general knowledge, and the 2 minutes begins now. What Spanish word is used for chains of mountains, especially in the Andes?
Sierra.
Cordillera. The focula, the joined clavicles of a bird, has what popular name?
Wishbone.
Correct. The Myrmidons were warriors who followed which Greek hero to the Trojan War?
Pass.
Which Conservative politician, noted for his abrasive debating style, was MP for Epping from 1970 to 74 and for Chingford from 74 to 92?
Norman Tebbit.
Correct. Which club won soccer's European Champions Cup in its first 5 years from 1956 till 1960?
AC Milan.
Real Madrid. Who wrote the horror story The Pit and the Pendulum?
Edgar Allan Poe.
Correct. Longbows were traditionally made of not free lengths of the wood of which tree?
Yew.
Correct. In which 1976 film does Jessica Lange utter the immortal line, "Put me down, you male chauvinist ape"?
Pass.
What was the specific criminal occupation of a peterman?
He was worked with a pickpocket to take the...
Nope, he was a safe breaker. What is the name of the Somali-born BBC correspondent who reported from Baghdad throughout the war with Iraq?
Raji Omar.
Correct. Detroit-born Jack and Meg White make up which rock group?
Pass.
Which word for a person who sets too much value on social standing was originally a slang term for a cobbler?
Pass.
What name is given to the tax paid by a company on its income or profits?
Corporation tax.
Correct. In which London park is Queen Mary's Rose Garden?
Green Park.
Regent's Park. From which ore, a form of uranium oxide, did the Curies first extract radium?
Pitch blende.
Correct. Which Greek words, literally meaning the many, have come to mean the common people or a rabble?
Populi.
Hoi polloi. In which year was the North Atlantic Treaty signed that saw NATO come into being?
1948.
1949. Whose fifth and most successful novel, The Woman in White, was first published, started so I'll finish, first published in 1860?
Wilkie Collins.
Correct. Martin White, you passed on 4 questions. The word for a person who sets too much value, but you know this, on social standing is, of course, a snob. The Jack and Meg White duo made up the White Stripes. Put me down, you male chauvinist ape was spoken by Jessica Lange in King Kong. And the Myrmidons followed Achilles to the Trojan War. Martin White, you have now scored a total of 20 points. And now, Andrew Whitworth, please, our last contender. And, Andrew, you also got 12 right, but you passed on only 1 question. You're a lecturer in politics, but fascinated by Kubrick.
Yes. He's the greatest film director of all time.
The greatest film director
Yes,
of all time?
I believe so.
Absolutely no question about that.
No, not for me.
Not for you.
Others may disagree, but I think that.
And what was his greatest film?
2001.
Again, absolutely no doubt about that. Are
Not-
you certain
no.
about everything as you are about that?
I'm not certain about politics, but I'm pretty certain about that.
Right, well, let's see what your general knowledge is like. You have 2 minutes, starting now. Which London art gallery, founded by a sugar magnate, is situated in Millbank?
The Tate.
Correct. What name is given to the group of polysaccharides occurring particularly in fruit, which causes jam to set?
Pectin.
Correct. During which MP's maiden speech after the 87 general election did his guide dog, Ted, fall asleep?
David Blunkett.
Correct. Which country did Lennox Lewis represent when he won the super heavyweight boxing gold medal at Seoul in 1988?
Canada.
Correct. Which debtor's prison formed part of the setting for the Dickens novel Little Dorrit?
Newgate.
No, Marshalsea. Which keyboard player with Phil Collins and Mike Rutherford made up the group Genesis?
Tony Banks.
Correct. Which Swedish word meaning representative is used for an official who investigates complaints against public bodies?
Ombudsman.
Correct. Who in 1978 became the first black footballer to play for England in a full international?
Viv Anderson.
Correct. What name is given to the first 4 of 12 violin concertos of Opus 8 by Vivaldi?
Pass.
Who in 1632 became the court painter to King Charles I?
Holbein.
Van Dyck. Which is the largest New World member of the cat family?
The Jaguar.
Correct. Just Like That is a theatrical comedy starring Jerome Flynn as which comedian?
Tommy Cooper.
Correct. Which millionaire businessman launched the Today newspaper in March 1986?
Eddie Shah.
Correct. Where specifically in the human body are the deltoid muscles?
In your back.
I'd have to say no, it's the shoulder. In mythology, which celebrated trap was constructed by the Greek carpenter Epeus?
The Trojan Horse.
Correct. In The Archers, what was the occupation of Tom Forrest, played by the actor Bob Arnold, who died in August 1998?
He was a farmer.
He was a gamekeeper. Which series of films features the robots C-3PO and
The
R2-D2?
Star Wars series.
Correct. Which Scottish-born MP from Makerfield entered the cabinet when he was appointed Minister without Portfolio and Labour Chair in April 2003?
John Reid.
No, Ian McCartney. Which conductor and impresario was born in St Helens in Lancashire in 1879? And you can think for a moment.
Simon Rattle.
I think he would feel that he hasn't quite reached that seniority yet. So, Thomas Beecham, you passed on only one question, and that was the name given to the first 4 of those violin concertos, of course, the 4 seasons. And you now have a total of 24 points. So, at the end of the general knowledge round, let's take a look at the scores. In 4th place, with 17 points, is Nigel White. In 3rd place, with 18 points, is Tony Barnes. In 2nd place, with 20 points, is Martin White. And in 1st place, with 24 points, is Andrew Whitworth. So that means that Andrew Whitworth goes through to the next round, the quarter-final stage. Congratulations to him. And please join us next week for more Masterminds. Thank you for watching. Good night.
Back for a brand new series, The Hairy Bikers Everyday Gourmets starts tonight with the boys serving up a Chinese banquet for a soldier injured in Afghanistan. That's at 8. Now on BBC Two, it's the real history of Britain and the story of the PALS battalions of the First World War.